Only when the ocean flows can one show their true heroism, and only when the waves wash through the sand can one see their ambition and passion. Compete with others along the way of cultivation. Fight against the heavens. E'en wind erodes my bones, thunder forges my body. I, Xiao Miao, am not weaker than others. Keywords of the novel. Do pose 1,100 refinements no pop-ups, Do pose 1,100 refinements complete collection download, Do pose 1,100 refinements latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Knowing that there are tigers on the mountain, leaning towards the tiger mountain. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Knowing that there are tigers on the mountain, leaning towards the tiger mountain. In the northwest of Duki continent, the Shao family has reached a point where they cannot retreat within the city of Yutun in the Gama Empire. Xiao Zhan's face turned red, suppressing his anger and staring at his own younger brother. The Shao family is not yet in dire straits and wants the younger brother of the clan leader to go out and fight hard. Xiao Zhan's hoarse voice echoed through the room. Big brother, there are always things that require someone to go. When our Shao family first arrived in Wutan City, the various families in the city were waiting to see our Shao family's jokes. Xiao Yi's expression was calm, and he knew that after Xiao Lin's death, if the Shao family wanted to take root in Wutan City, they needed to demonstrate their own strength to deter the bloodthirsty wolves. The Oba and Gallery families have set traps waiting for us to infiltrate. Do you think I don't want to kill them? Xiao Zhan roared at Xiao Yi. Xiao Yi shook his head and said, but this time we have shrunk our heads. Next time, more than 2 families will attack the Shao family. Families of all sizes in Wutan City will rush forward and bite the Shao family. Big brother, you are the clan leader, and the Shao family cannot live without you. I will do my best to make them remember that the Shao family is not a weak persimmon. If I die in battle, help me take care of Miaoer. After speaking, Xiao Ito walked out of the door without looking back. Xiao Zhan sat weakly back in his chair. After his father Xiao Lin passed away, Xiao Zhan led his tribe to evacuate the imperial capital. The family's martial arts and resources were all abandoned, and it was only then that they arrived safely in the city of Yutun. Even in Wutan City, the Shao family is still a piece of fat in the eyes of everyone. The former Dawang family, now the strongest, are only a few regional dosher. Father, what should I do? Xiao Zhan was tired, and within a few months, the Shao family had experienced countless attacks, resulting in the death of hundreds of clan members. Nowadays, it is even more forced to have no way out. At the Shao family martial arts arena, hundreds of members of the Shao family stood quietly, waiting for the final battle. As long as the enemy's probing claws are chopped off, the Shao family can take root in Wutan City, and their descendants do not have to experience ups and downs like them. Xiao Yi came to the martial arts stage and looked at the people in front of him. Everyone has a weariness in their eyes, whether they have been attacking or probing for months, they are already tired. Today is the last battle. If we win, the Shao family won't have to go through wind and rain. Lose, all the previous efforts are in vain. Clan people, we have no way back. Some of you are the fathers of your children. Would you like your children to experience the ups and downs again? Xiao Yi roared. Unwilling. A voice filled with anger rang out, and at this moment, the eyes of the Shao family were once again shining with fire. I don't want to either. I'm also a father, and I can't bear to leave him. But for the sake of the Shao family and his future stable growth, I came here. Many people will die this time, and I can't guarantee that everyone will come back safely, but I can guarantee that I will definitely die in front of you. Xiao Yi looked at the people in front of him and made his own oath. For the Shao family, for our children. Let's go. After speaking, Xiao Yi led the way out of the Shao family, and then a person from the Shao family followed him with a solemn expression to the battlefield. Xiao Miao hid behind the door, watching his father, determined to die, launch a tragic charge towards the windmill like Don Quixote. Countless people joke that Don Quixote is a fool, and there are also many who joke that Xiao Yi, knowing it was a trap in front, charged forward with iron. The nail pierced into the flesh, and this 3-year-old child was so eager for strength at this moment. How cruel! Is this the continent of fighting spirit? Xiao Miao gritted his teeth and said. Xiao Miao is a traveler. When he found out he had arrived at the Duki continent, he still kicked the sole heavenly emperor with his feet and punched the void-swallowing flame. After 3 months of escape, Xiao Miao finally realized soberly that this was an era where military power was paramount, and the weak could only be slaughtered by others. Novels are ultimately just novels. Enemies will not reason with you and wait for you to grow up. There won't be a golden finger suddenly jumping out to save your life when you need it, pretending to take you and flying with you. In this world, if you don't become a strong person, you must always live with fear. Xiao Miao returned to his room in a daze, and now his heart was in turmoil. Xiao Yi, his father, is the younger brother of the Xiao family leader. When the Xiao family needs Xiao Yi cannot hide, it is his responsibility. So Xiao Yi did not refuse the action of almost leading the way to death. It has been 3 years since she came to this world, and Xiao Miao has never seen her mother, not even a trace of her. For Xiao Yi, Xiao Miao's emotions are very complex. As an adult with complete memory, it is difficult to accept the sudden addition of a father. After 3 years, Xiao Yi devoted himself to Xiao Miao, but Xiao Miao was not a stone. So after a period of time, Xiao Miao also accepted the identity of Xiao Yi's father. I didn't expect that the Xiao family would decline soon after having a father's love. First, Grandpa Xiao Lin died, and the Xiao family evacuated from the imperial capital, experiencing a bloody journey. I finally arrived at Yutun City, but as an outsider, I was also excluded by most of the forces in Yutun City. Only a small number of families who have been struggling are still watching. If the Xiao family has the strength to live in Wutan City, they don't mind joining the Xiao family and redistributing the benefits of Wutan City. A group of wall grass. Xiao Miao thought fiercely. Xiao Miao can understand the behavior of these forces, but he cannot let go. His father is working hard outside, but these wall grass are unwilling to give a fight and still want to come out and take advantage of the war. Watching the dark clouds outside the window, Xiao Miao silently prayed for Xiao Yi in her heart. The character Xiao Yi did not appear in the original text, and as Xiao Zhan's younger brother and Xiao Yan's uncle, he did not appear. It is very likely that he died in this struggle. Xiao Miao doesn't want to dwell on it. He's only 3 years old now and can't do anything. Although the souls of 2 lifetimes overlap and he is a little genius, he is still too young to be of any help. In the Xiao family ancestral hall, Xiao Zhan was kneeling in front of the ancestral tablet, silently praying. He is the chieftain, and when everyone panics, he cannot panic, he can only silently endure the pain. In the neighborhood of the Xiao family, blood scattered all over the stalls, spreading like a small snake on the ground. A figure struggled to stand with a long knife. The corpses of the 2 major families were scattered around. Xiao Yi, haven't you surrendered yet? Galabai said to Xiao Yi with a gloomy expression, as the people of the 2 major families were already surrounded by Xiao Yi. This probe caused the 2 families to lose blood. Xiao Yi alone killed 1 master and several masters from each of the Oba and Gale families. Even if we completely annihilate the Xiao family squad this time, we will no longer be able to deal with the Xiao family. Xiao Yi watched as the corpses of his compatriots scattered in the neighborhood, recalling the figures desperately protecting him, because Xiao Yi was the only great fighter among the crowd. Xiao Yi gave a mournful smile and said, "If you want my life, you still need to give me a few extra hard-earned money." This immediately aroused a small amount of fighting spirit in his body. No, he's going to self-destruct, kill him quickly. In the narrow space, it's already impossible to dodge. Can only quickly kill Xiao Yi. Several figures rushed toward Xiao Yi, while Jia Libi quietly hid behind everyone. Boom! Galabai crawled out of the ruins and looked at the corpses of his tribe, furious. Zhao's family. I am at odds with you, Galabai. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. The bad news suddenly sounded like thunder, wishing to send my heart to the wind of sorrow. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. The bad news suddenly sounded like thunder, wishing to send my heart to the wind of sorrow. The next day, the dark clouds had already dissipated, but the sky remained gloomy and a light drizzle began to fall. Xiao Zhan arrived at Xiao Miao's door and hesitated outside. He doesn't know how to face his own nephew. Squeak. Xiao Miao pushed open the door and said, "Uncle, what's up?" Xiao Zhan looked at Xiao Miao with a pale and tired face before him, and spoke with difficulty, "Miaoer. Your father. He died in battle." Xiao Zhan's voice was a bit hoarse, and after waiting for news all night, he dared not look into Xiao Miao's eyes. Xiao Miao suddenly clenched his palm into a fist. When his father rushed to the battlefield, he already knew the outcome, but he still had a chance in his heart. Xiao Zhan took out a long sword from the ring, and the blood on the sword had dried up to brown, with cracks crawling like spider webs all over it. This is the only thing Ai left behind. Xiao Zhan handed the long sword to Xiao Miao. Xiao Miao took the long sword with trembling hands and said to Xiao Zhan, "Uncle, I want to start practicing qi as soon as possible. The fighting energy is raging, and most children's meridians cannot bear it. So young children on the mainland start practicing qi at the age of 4, but now Xiao Miao, who is 3 years and 5 months old, wants to practice qi early. In theory, young children who are almost 4 years old are not unable to practice qi, but most of them cannot bear the pain. Therefore, all forces start to let their children practice qi at the age of 4. The time for practicing qi should not be too long, otherwise the pain will accumulate and become unbearable until the meridians are damaged." Miaoer. Before Xiao Zhan could finish speaking, he was interrupted by Xiao Miao. "Uncle, compared to the inner torment, the physical pain is not worth mentioning." Xiao Miao no longer wanted to endure the weakness and torment in his heart. Pain is a good medicine to alleviate the inner torment. Xiao Zhan couldn't refuse the boy in front of him. He watched as Xiao Miao struggled to hold back his sadness, holding his small face high to prevent tears from flowing out of his eyes. "I can only silently nod and say, tonight I'll teach you how to practice. From now on, Miaoer, you'll live with Uncle, okay?" At this age, refining qi can easily harm the root, and letting Xiao Miao do this on his own is not much better for his body. It's better to take it with him and have him personally supervise and guide it than Xiao Miao doing it blindly. Xiao Miao also needs someone to be by his side frequently to take care of him, so as not to let the crazy exercise plan arranged in the future ruin him. He nodded and replied, "Got it, Uncle." Looking at Xiao Miao's tired little face, Xiao Zhan quickly urged, "Miao-er, go back and rest well. Uncle will come to pick you up tonight." Xiao Miao looked at the man in front of her who was concerned about her, and a warm current surged in her heart as she returned to the room. Xiao Zhan stood in the yard all along, watching Xiao Miao enter the room. He was quite busy next. Although Xiao Yi died in battle, he established the reputation of the Xiao family and allowed them to take root in Wutan City. And he cannot disappoint his younger brother's expectations, let alone waste the time his brother has earned with his life. Before the Oba and Gallery families rest, it is essential to control a portion of the power of Wutan City in one's own hands. Xiao Miao suppressed the tears in her eyes and lay on the bed. Time slowly passed, and physical exhaustion made the young body unable to obey the commands of the brain. Xiao Miao fell asleep. At night, the cold moonlight scattered into Xiao Miao's yard. Xiao Miao looked at the place where he lived last with his father and silently wiped away the tears from his face. "Father, I will fulfill your last wish and let no one in the Xiao family dare to bully you." Xiao Miao made a vow in his heart. Glancing at the courtyard with nostalgia, He resolutely turned around and followed Xiao Zhan to the residence of the clan chief. Xiao Zhan looked at the sad Xiao Miao and didn't know what to say to comfort the boy who had already become aware. He just silently took Xiao Miao's little hand and passed on his body temperature. Hearing footsteps coming from outside the door, Bai Yao carried the young Xiao Yan out to welcome her husband, while Xiao Ding and Xiao Li followed her mother. "Hello Bai, big brother, good evening second brother." Xiao Miao obediently greeted everyone. Bai Yao looked at the boy in front of her with heartache, handed Xiao Yan to Xiao Zhan, and embraced Xiao Miao, saying, "Miao, this will be your home from now on." Xiao Miao's eyes turned red. Even though there was a soul in his 20s living within his body, he had never experienced life and death in his past life. Tears swirled in my eyes, and my nose seemed to be blocked. I could only let out a cry. Then he awkwardly withdrew from Bai Yao's arms and wiped away his tears. Xiao Ding beside him patted his chest and comforted Xiao Miao, saying, "Miao Miao, we will take care of you in the future." Xiao Yan also lay in Xiao Zhan's arms, with a small face on his shoulder and a yawn. Although he had the soul of an adult, he was already exhausted by this time. Upon hearing this familiar title, Xiao Miao's little face turned black. These two guys had always liked to call themselves that way since childhood. Watching Xiao Miao, who was young and mature, become angry and embarrassed was a rare joy for Xiao Ding and Xiao Li. Bai Yao tapped Xiao Ding and Xiao Li's heads and said, all right, let's take your brother into the house first." Xiao Zhan looked at the warm scene before him, diluting the fatigue and sadness in his heart. The four of them walked into the room, and Xiao Zhan said to Bai Yao, Yao, take the children to rest first. I have something else to talk to Miao Er about." Bai Yao nodded and left with the three children. "Let's go, Miao Er. I'll teach you how to practice qi tonight." Xiao Zhan led Xiao Miao to the room prepared for him by Bai Yao. Under the guidance of Xiao Zhan, Xiao Miao held the seal and silently felt the fighting spirit that filled the world. Abundant, active, and wild. Slowly inhaling the Doji qi into his body, it was like a wild beast rushing through Xiao Miao's meridians, causing his painful little face to twitch. "Calm down," Xiao Zhan whispered in his ear. As fighting spirit enters the body, waves of pain are transmitted from the body. The fierce fighting spirit roughly penetrated into the tender meridians, and this excruciating pain could only be endured by biting one's teeth. Xiao Miao gritted his teeth and his face began to contort. At that moment, he realized why Xiao Yi had been unwilling to let him refine his qi in advance. However, compared to the mere pain, Xiao Miao is more afraid of the occasional feeling of powerlessness in her heart. Since the bad news of Xiao Yi came, powerlessness and sadness have been gnawing at him like greedy ants. When the first wave of fighting energy was contained in the dantian, Xiao Miao slowly breathed a sigh of relief. The fighting energy was raging in the meridians, and the physical pain relieved the sadness in his heart. Slowly opening his eyes, Xiao Miao looked at the seal formed by his hands, his gaze filled with confusion. "How's it going?" Xiao Zhan's expression was a bit nervous, interrupting Xiao Miao's thoughts. Xiao Miao jumped off the bed and bowed to Xiao Zhan, "Thank you, uncle." Upon hearing these words, Xiao Zhan also breathed a sigh of relief. It's very late today. I'll have my servants prepare hot water, wash it, and then go to bed." Xiao Zhan touched Xiao Miao's head and said, "If you have anything you don't understand during your cultivation, feel free to ask me. Don't go astray in your own cultivation." Xiao Miao nodded and replied, "I know, uncle." Quickly, the servant took Xiao Miao to wash up. After washing up, Xiao Miao sat on the bed and started practicing qi again. Pain surged like a tide, and Xiao Miao frowned tightly. An hour passed, and cold sweat covered Xiao Miao's small face. Xiao Miao slowly withdrew his seal. "It's just my first time practicing qi today, so don't rush it." Xiao Miao got out of bed and washed up again before slowly falling asleep on the track bed. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Merit often leads to poverty and neutrality, and misfortune often arises from cleverness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Merit often leads to poverty and neutrality, and misfortune often arises from cleverness. The next day, before dawn, Xiao Miao got up and took a horse stance. Xiao Miao was well aware that there was no shortcut to the path of transcendence. Talent only raised Xiao Miao's lower limit, and only through hard work could he raise his upper limit. Xiao Miao has talent, but in this remote and small country of Gama, without putting in any effort to go out, the highest achievement in one's life is just a dozong. When the Soul clan attacks, dozong can only be considered a larger ant, and can be easily crushed to death without much effort. There are naturally shortcuts, but the path to promotion will become narrower and narrower until there is no way forward. Xiao Miao took a deep breath and endured the sourness emanating from his legs. As long as his body became stronger, the time for cultivating duqi could be extended. Xiao Miao is only 3 years old now, and her body is still too weak to practice qi for too long. Quickly, Xiao Miao began to pant heavily, sweat rolling down his head, and his tender face turned red. However, he still gritted his teeth, even though his legs were trembling. Xiao Miao persisted. Half an hour later, a little fish belly white lit up in the east, and there was movement in the nearby courtyard. Not far away, Xiao Zhan stood by the yard at some point, looking at the boy with a bright red face in the yard. Xiao Zhan didn't advise much. Xiao Zhan knew that at the moment Xiao Yi died, Xiao Miao had already transformed from a mischievous boy to a responsible man. Although Xiao Miao is still young, his consciousness is not lower than anyone else. Xiao Zhan instructed his wife Bai Yao, who came to him, from now on, arrange a medicinal bath for Miaoer every night. Otherwise, according to his practice method, he will eventually become useless. Bai Yao nodded and looked at the stubborn little boy in the yard. The sun slowly rose, shining on Xiao Miao's trembling figure. Xiao Zhan flashed up next to Xiao Miao and said, "All right, let's get here today and have breakfast first." He then carried Xiao Miao back into the room. Xiao Ding and Xiao Li also yawned and came to the dining table. "Good morning, Miao Miao." After finishing, they started eating breakfast, and Bai Yao also brought Xiao Yan to the table. After dinner, before Xiao Zhan went to the tribe, Bai Yao hugged Xiao Miao and said, "Miaoer, Bai Aunt will give you a press, otherwise you won't even be able to lift your legs later." Xiao Miao's face turned red and she began to struggle. "Aunt Bai, I'm no longer a child. You can put me down first, and I can press it myself." Bai Yao smiled lightly and said, "Okay, Miaoer is no longer a child. Be good, don't move around for now. Wait until Aunt Bai finishes massaging you." Xiao Miao was carrying a kitten on his shoulder, criticizing his face. It should be noted that even Xiao Yi did not exhibit such intimate behavior after Xiao Miao was able to act independently. "Can you give me some respect? I'm really not a 3-year-old child." Have you considered his feelings as a man in his 20s when saying such coaxing words to children? After waiting for Bai Yao to finish her massage, Xiao Miao quickly ran out of the door. Xiao Miao heard that there seemed to be a fight in the neighboring yard. Out of curiosity, Xiao Miao touched it. "Miao Miao, should we exercise together?" The fighting quickly stopped, and Xiao Ding and Xiao Li greeted Xiao Miao one after another. "Well, Ding and Li, hello. I haven't seen anyone fight yet, let's just watch from the side for a while." Xiao Miao replied. The two looked at each other with a smile and fought back together. After watching for about a minute, Xiao Miao rubbed her eyes and went back. The fighting in this world is a bit eye-wrenching. Perhaps he had some fighting skills, but Xiao Miao didn't see it on the two of them. "It was just a simple punch from you and a leg from me." After finishing, he still smiled happily, with an expression on his face that matched his opponent's and wished he could fight another 100 rounds. Subway, elderly, mobile. JP, why do I have a little expectation for these two funny people? Xiao Miao roast in his heart. At the end of the day, they were just two children aged 5 or 6, at most learning a few free throws from their tribe. Moreover, there are few people in this world who delve into skills. If a high-level combat skill is passed, nothing is unfair. If there is, then there is another high-level combat skill. Xiao Ding in Shaoli practice, Xiao Zhan handles household affairs, Bai Yao is busy breastfeeding children, and the family has their own busy tasks. Xiao Miao is now free again. Returning to the courtyard, he began to seriously contemplate a question. How should I take my next path? Is it taking Xiao Yan's path, leaving him with no way to go? No, I don't necessarily have fire attributes. If not, then the abnormal fire won't be of much use to me. Besides, in the stories in my memory, there is no presence of Xiao Miao. If Xiao Miao replaces Xiao Yan, what kind of role will Xiao Yan play? After the emergence of variables, can Xiao Miao, who replaced Xiao Yan, still become the emperor of Dou? Xiao Miao did not have this confidence. After all, Xiao Miao is just an ordinary person, without golden fingers or good resources. Or take a different path and follow the path you envision. Even after knowing that he was born in the Duqi continent, Xiao Miao had always imagined how to take his future path. That is the lightning forging body, the flesh becoming holy. At the same time, I also specialize in swordsmanship. In the end, even if Emperor Dozong chops off his head, he will die. With the power of fighting spirit attacking his soul, swordsmanship can continue to be practiced. To achieve the cutting of the body with a knife and the cutting of the soul with a heart. I don't know if this world can cultivate Dao Yi, and if so, there's no need to play flashy fighting skills. It would be beautiful to fight against the Emperor one by one. This time, he thought for a long time, and finally opened his palm to feel the ubiquitous fighting energy, confirming his original intention. Born in the city of Yuten, he had no access to the towering heavenly-level martial arts and combat techniques, not to mention the heavenly steps, the earthly steps are all suspended. So for Xiao Miao, there is only one path. The ultimate physical strength, speed, and strength bring absolute violence, without the need for advanced knife techniques. As long as he can chop off the enemy's head, it is a good knife technique. Thinking of this, Xiao Miao returned to the room and took out his father's belongings. Returned to the yard. Xiao Miao began the most basic training, wielding a knife. Draw a line on the wooden stake. Facing the wooden stake, one knife after another, striving to cut each knife on the thin line. At first, with a quick swing of the knife, only 1 out of 5 knives could successfully hit the target. Xiao Miao began to slow down the speed of his sword, and each subsequent strike fell on the thin line. Xiao Miao began to slowly increase his sword speed, and his originally restless heart also calmed down. With the focus of Xiao Miao's attention, the hit rate of wielding the knife also saw a qualitative improvement. A sword like autumn water flashed past, and the wooden stake had already broken in two. Xiao Miao slowly exhaled and put the knife into its sheath. Carrying both hands behind one's back, exuding a sophisticated demeanor. In just 1 hour, I have made such great progress. Am I still a martial arts genius? It's truly me. Xiao Miao's mouth couldn't help but rise, and Nike Go had already seen it for the first time. What are you doing, third brother? Xiao Yan, who was only 1 year old, appeared behind Xiao Miao. The little doubting stared wide, as if he had met this brother for the first time. The originally aloof image of Xiao Miao was completely shattered by the Dragon King like Xiao Miao in front of him. Xiao Miao's head was immediately covered in black lines, but he knew that Xiao Yan was not an ordinary child. Xiao Yan had complete thinking ability. Xiao Miao turned around to look at Xiao Yan, who had already died in society. In his heart, he was already pondering how to silently kill Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan looked at Xiao Miao, who was gradually turning black, and with a short leg, he prepared to run away. Suddenly, a pair of sinful hands struck, gripping the neck of Xiao Yan's fate. Xiao Yan's short legs were vigorously waving in the air, but unfortunately they had no effect. Xiao Miao looked at the little bean pudding in his hand, with a dangerous smile on his face and a friendly voice, asking, "Did Huahua see anything just now?" Xiao Yan looked at Xiao Miao, whose art style was gradually deteriorating, and cautiously replied, "What is brother Xiao Miao talking about? I just came here." "Not bad, Huahua is so good. How about exercising with brother Xiao Miao in the future?" Xiao Miao didn't let Xiao Yan go so easily. In order to prevent Xiao Yan from having excessive energy and using nonsense outside to tarnish his reputation, be sure to drain Xiao Yan's energy every day. Half an hour later. Raise your hands, straighten your waist, and press your legs down. Xiao Miao carried his small hand on his back, occasionally pointing out the areas where Xiao Yan was not doing well. Xiao Miao has been walking horses for several months and is confident that it is harmless to the body and can enhance physical fitness, so it doesn't hurt to let the fire pierce. "I won't practice anymore." Xiao Yan sat down on the ground, panting heavily. "This can't be done by you, little fire." Xiao Miao's art style has completely collapsed, and Xiao Yan's nightmare has just begun. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Fortunately, I have known the peach blossom noodles of the Qing Dynasty, and from then on, the fields have been filled with warm spring. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Fortunately, I have known the peach blossom noodles of the Qing Dynasty, and from then on, the fields have been filled with warm spring. 3 years later, nearly 100 young children stood in front of the Qi refining hall, registering one by one. Xiao Yan stood behind Xiao Miao, wearing the ring from fate. Bai Yao eventually passed away due to serious illness, and Xiao Miao once again lost her loved ones. Neither of them spoke and silently followed the team into the lobby. Stopping at the registration office for a moment, Xiao Miao realized that not everyone who came over was 4 years old, and there were also people who were 5 or 6 years old. At least Xiao Miao was 6 years old. As the only 6-year-old child, Xiao Miao naturally ranked first. Xiao Miao, 6 years old. When the registered person heard the words, Xiao Miao, they couldn't help but give him a special glance, and their voice softened. "Okay, let's go in." Almost all members of the Xiao family knew Xiao Yi's contributions to the Xiao family, and naturally had a good impression of the hero's son. Next one. Xiao Yan, 4 years old. "Okay, go inside." Then the teacher took the stage and, from his level of strength to the size of the world, spoke for over 2 hours. The Qi refining technique ended in less than 2 minutes. "That's it. You told me that this is Qi training, which is too unreliable." Xiao Miao roast with a black question mark face. Xiao Huahua next to him also nodded in confusion. After submitting the printing method, the teacher announced the end of class. "Is that all for now? How can it be like playing?" On the way back, Xiao Yan suddenly spoke up, "Third brother, do you feel the fighting spirit?" "Huahua, you forgot that your third brother is 3 years old and practicing Qi. He has already achieved 6 levels of Do Qi. Do you think I feel Do Qi?" It should be said that it is me, and a Nike hook appeared again at the corner of Xiao Miao's mouth. If it weren't for Xiao Miao never letting go of his forging and swordsmanship, at this moment, he might have become a fighter with the 8th-section fighting Qi after working hard for over a year. "Ah! I haven't felt any fighting spirit now," Xiao Yan scratched his head. "Is it because I'm too stupid?" Xiao Miao mercilessly struck and said, "Is that right? Is that right? I'm starting to doubt myself now. No one is really so fragile, right?" Xiao Yan clenched his small fist and gritted his milk teeth, shouting fiercely at Xiao Miao, 30 years east of the river and 30 years west of the river, don't deceive young people into poverty. Xiao Miao Miao, I tell you, one day I will press you to the ground and beat you up. Of course, these Xiaohuahua can only think in his heart. Over the past 3 years, Xiao Miao appeared at his doorstep every day, rain or shine. Xiao Yan didn't know whether it was because of Xiao Miao's deep love for him or because he deliberately retaliated by revealing the appearance of his second illness. If Xiao Miao knows his current thoughts, he can find a cemetery in advance. Time is like a white sun passing through a gap, rushing for another year. On that day, Xiao Miao was exercising in the courtyard while Xiao Yan was staying. The two of them were sweating profusely when they suddenly heard Xiao Zhan's voice. The two of them looked outside and saw Xiao Zhan walking towards this place. He greeted Xiao Yan and said, "Miaoer, Yener, come here. A distinguished guest has arrived at home, and a banquet has been set up. You should wash up and tidy up, and then come to the reception hall." After Xiao Zhan finished speaking, he did not stay much. After all, the distinguished guest is at the door, and as the clan leader, he naturally cannot be absent. After a while, the two of them arrived at the reception hall. "Come, Miaoer, Yener, this is Suner." Xiao Zhan stood at the entrance of the reception hall, surrounded by a group of children. Xiao Miao turned his eyes and saw a little girl in the middle, dressed in a blue long dress and carved with powder jade carving, standing in the center. The little girl's face, although somewhat pale, had a pair of deer-like eyes, as if she could speak. Although she is young, she already has a graceful and lotus-like temperament on her body. Xiao Miao thought to herself, this should be Xiao Suner. Xiao Yan beside her tugged at Xiao Miao's sleeve and whispered, "I've regained my senses, third brother. Aren't you liking this little girl? You've been stunned." Xiao Miao finally regained consciousness and smiled awkwardly at Xiao Suner. "Hello Xiao Miao, hello Xiao Yan." Before Xiao Miao and Xiao Yan could recover, Xiao Suner's light and agile voice had already sounded. Xiao Miao withdrew her gaze and gave a slight bow, "Hello, Suner sister. We usually meet just to get to know each other." Xiao Yan also followed Ili and said, "Hello, Suner sister." Xiao Zhan patted Xiao Miao's shoulder without saying anything more, and led everyone into the reception hall. Xiao Miao and Xiao Yan fell behind, and Xiao Yan secretly said to Xiao Miao, "Third brother, have you taken a liking to the little girl?" Xiao Yan knew that his third brother was a martial arts enthusiast, and many beautiful big sisters and cute little sisters in the clan were staring at Xiao Miao. However, Xiao Miao never pretended to say anything, but this time Xiao Miao was stunned. "What's so much to say?" Xiao Miao patted Xiao Yan's head and then pulled him into the reception hall. After the banquet, a round of minji hung high in the air. Xiao Suner curled up on the bed, like a discarded little beast. The cold and indifferent expression in the daytime dissipated, and at this moment, the eyebrows were all low, and the face was also somewhat pale. At this moment, the dark corner of the room twisted and a figure walked out. It was Ling Ying. Looking at Xiao Suner's pale face, Ling Ying knew that her body was not enough to bear the side effects of the strange fire, and she could only endure it. The best way is to divert Xiao Suner's attention. She immediately said, "Miss, when I was exploring the area, I found an interesting person. Miss, why don't you go and get in touch with them?" Xiao Suner was full of annoyance and couldn't listen at all. She said in disappointment, "It's because I made my father angry that he didn't want me." Ling Ying sighed in his heart. Even if his own young lady's mind was beyond ordinary, she would still be just a 4-year-old child. He quickly comforted, "Miss, you're wrong. The clan leader doesn't want you, there are hidden currents in the family, and the clan leader doesn't want you to be involved. Sending you here is also for your good. Also for your own good." Although Ling Ying's voice was gentle, it was very harsh in Xiao Suner's ears. If it was really for her own good, why did she put herself together with the golden earth burning heavenly flame for nearly 1,000 years, just to gain the power of the golden emperor burning heavenly flame? After all, I am not a tool for the prosperity of the ancient tribe. Xiao Suner hugged her knees, feeling unhappy. After a while, she asked, "What's the interesting person you're talking about?" Do you still remember the Xiao Miao you saw in the daytime? Well, besides looking pretty, it seems quite ordinary. Yeah, I didn't expect this little guy to hide so deep, Ling Ying sighed. Xiao Suner tilted her head to look at Ling Ying, waiting for his explanation. Ling Ying said, since Miss can't sleep, why don't you go and get in touch with her? Now. Xiao Suner walked out with confusion. She approached lightly and stopped outside Xiao Miao's small courtyard, with a hint of hesitation on her face. Then she knocked on the door, and Xiao Miao slowly woke up from meditation. Jia Xiao Miao opened the door and looked at the pale-faced little loli in front of her. Sister Suner. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Lang rids a bamboo horse, around the bed playing with green plums. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. Lang rids a bamboo horse, around the bed playing with green plums. Xiao Miao looked at the pale-looking little loli in front of her and said, Sister Suner, it's so late. What's up? Brother Xiao Miao, won't you invite Suner to come in and sit down? The little girl asked while looking at Xiao Miao. A boy who looks quite handsome during the day, his eyes are particularly bright at this moment, even the night cannot conceal it. It's a lonely night. Xiao Miao muttered as he welcomed Sun Er into the yard. Xiao Miao didn't block Xiao Suner outside the door. This girl is a little princess from the ancient tribe. Xiao Miao has no background or resources, and building a good relationship is only beneficial. Talking about it won't hurt, maybe she can even get close to Fu Li's thigh. On the other hand, Xiao Yan was a bit excited. After a year of hard work, just now, the amount of fighting spirit hovering over the Dantian finally reached a certain level, which could permeate his palms. Despite his physical exhaustion, he still struggled to fall asleep due to his overly excited emotions. Even if you close your eyes tightly, there will still be various thoughts jumping in your mind. Having witnessed Xiao Miao's clean and sharp swordsmanship, and then considering his own fighting spirit, Xiao Yan inevitably had many fantasies, fantasizing that one day he could fly over roofs and walls, becoming a legendary figure of his generation. Is this fighting spirit? Do we need to find someone to test its power? Xiao Yan thought this way, and his heart began to stir. Which young man doesn't have a dream of a great hero? If this is really extraordinary power, then you must pry out some martial arts secrets from Cheap Father then. Finally, he put on his clothes, pushed open the door, and was about to touch in a certain direction. The two brothers have already developed a fighting spirit, but as for the third brother, let's forget it. Suner. Friends and wives should not be deceived. The third brother seems to have some interest in Suner. Besides, women are not interesting in martial arts secrets. The third brother is now a heretic. After thinking for a moment, Xiao Yan walked towards Xiao Zhan's room. Closing the courtyard door, Xiao Miao paused for a moment. If I remember correctly, tonight it should be some little pervert preparing to attack innocent little loli. It seems like I accidentally changed the world line. No, the change in the world line should have already changed at the moment of its appearance, right? However, Xiao Miao did not expect that after 3 years of training, Xiao Yan had become a devilish and muscular person with a mind full of fighting and killing. Compared to girls, Xiao Yan now prefers to play with boys. Women only slow down the speed at which I draw my sword. Third brother once said, without women in my heart, drawing my sword is natural. Xiao Huahua had already been deceived by Xiao Miao. If Xiao Miao knew, he would have grinned and thought to himself, the whole village is counting on you to confront the sole heavenly emperor. If you don't cultivate well, why don't you go play the game of cultivating Zilvi? Crawl. Putting aside those messy thoughts, Xiao Miao turned around and found Xiao Suner staring in the yard. Sister Suner, please come inside. He didn't care if the little girl followed him or not. Xiao Miao walked into the main hall with short legs, busy with work. He first brewed a pot of hot tea, and then took out a cup of juice from the cabinet. Please take a seat. Xiao Miao, who was busy, made another gesture of invitation. Xiao Suner sat on the side, blinking Kazlan's big eyes and looking at the milky little doubting with a serious busy face. She pursed her mouth to laugh, afraid of Xiao Miao's misunderstanding. Before the tea was ready, her pretty face turned red. Xiao Miao scratched his head, not knowing where the joke was. Xiao Miao handed the juice to Xiao Suner with both hands. The little girl originally wanted to go and pick it up, but as soon as she took it away, she burst out laughing. I didn't know what was going on with this hair, but Xiao Miao didn't hear it and started savoring it on his own. The laughter didn't stop until almost half a cup of tea was consumed. The little girl smiled this time and her nature also showed some release. Her black gemstone-like eyes blinked and blinked. I don't know if she was deliberately trying to be cute. If I remember correctly, are you 2 or 3 years younger than me? Xiao Miao lowered her head and drank tea, giving Xiao Suner a white glance. The little girl pursed her lips and smiled again, picked up the tea and was about to take a sip. Oh, by the way. Tea wakes up the mind. Drinking too much can lead to insomnia, so it's better not to drink it, Sister Sun. Juice is what's prepared for you. It's for children and families, so what kind of tea should you drink if you have nothing to do? Xiao Miao reminded. Xiao Suner slightly curled her lips and put down her teacup. Did you hear Brother Xiao Miao practicing swordsmanship outside the door just now? Oh, I was negligent, Xiao Miao suddenly said, I'm really sorry to disturb your rest. Ah. Xiao Suner was taken aback for a moment and quickly waved her hand. No, it's just a newcomer. I feel a bit uncomfortable and haven't been disturbed by you. Xiao Miao glanced at the little girl and felt a groove stuck in her heart, unsure how to vomit. She said something to give her a beautiful childhood and live like an orphan. Only by sleeping can she have a ghost. It has to be said that the brain circuits of ancient tribal chiefs are amazing. Gu Yuan, it's truly you. 50 steps make 100 steps, and now Xiao Miao is even more orphan than Xiao Suner. I see that Sister Suner's face is a bit pale. I happen to have some medical skills, why don't I give Sister Suner a pulse? Looking at the lively little loli in front of her, Xiao Miao began to plan to hug her thighs. This is the little princess of the ancient tribe in front of me. I have taken care of Xiao Suner well, and on the day of becoming a fighter, not only high-level martial arts, but also low-level martial arts. Thinking of this, Xiao Miao quickly regained his senses and prepared to show off his skills in managing the family. Well. Okay. Looking at Xiao Miao's handsome little face, Xiao Suner seemed to feel a concern she hadn't felt in a long time, and by some stroke of luck, she reached out her little hand with a little baby fat on it. Until she felt the warmth on her wrist, her small ears suddenly turned red. The saying goes that medicine and martial arts are not separated. As early as the moment Xiao Miao decided to practice martial arts, he began to move all the medical books in the Xiao family's library back to his room and nibble them bit by bit. Tears were streaming down her back. No wonder in her past life, medical students said they advised people to study medicine, but the heavens struck and thunder struck. Xiao Miao thought to herself. Feeling the soft and tender touch of the white jade-like little hand in his hand, Xiao Miaojing forgot to feel the pulse for a moment. Until Xiao Suner's sticky voice came to her ears. Brother Xiao Miao. Xiao Miao regained his senses and quickly reminded himself, our country has a complete constitution, and alchemists are not advisable. I was fully focused on feeling the pulse in my hand. Be well behaved, the ancient tribe is also too ruthless. A 4-year-old little loli forcefully endured the 4th-ranked Jin Emperor's burning flame on the strange fire list. TSK, this Suner sister is also a ruthless person, enduring the suffering of strange fire every night with only a slightly pale face. Xiao Miao sighed, still somewhat underestimating the world. In the original text, there was only the impression of Xiao Suner as the first female licking dog to defeat her. Upon careful consideration, Xiao Suner was a peerless genius of the ancient tribe and a rare divine bloodline of the ancient tribe. Now it seems that it is far from that simple. Sister Suner, I have prepared a pair of medicinal herbs for you. Soaking them before bedtime every night may not have much effect, but at least it can make you feel more relaxed, said Xiao Miao, busy in front of the medicine cabinet in the room. Xiao Suner's face softened as she looked at Xiao Miao, who was busy. Since her birth, Gu Yuan has sealed her together with the Golden Emperor Fan Tianhua. After her birth, in the clan, people only flattered her, and her father was busy with clan affairs all day long. This is the first time that Xiao Suner has been so concerned. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. The underwater moon is the heavenly moon, and the person in front of you is the beloved one. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. The underwater moon is the heavenly moon, and the person in front of you is the beloved one. The moon hangs high in the sky, and the fire of the Golden Emperor Brahma is particularly active tonight. Xiao Suner curled up on the edge of the bed, her delicate little face covered in cold sweat. Dong dong dong. Sister Suner, I'm here to deliver the medicinal herbs. Xiao Miao's voice rang outside the door. Seeing that there was no sound in the room for a long time, Xiao Miao said again, Sister Suner, I'll just come in. Xiao Miao pushed open the door directly. As soon as she pushed the door open, Xiao Miao saw Xiao Suner curled up in a ball. Quickly walked over to Suner's bed, grabbed Suner's small hand, and slowly dissipated the fighting spirit inside her body. Xiao Suner's pale little face slowly crawled onto a stream of blood, and after a while, Xiao Miao felt the rare fighting spirit in his body and slowly gathered it in the dantian. Suner, are you better? Xiao Miao looked at Xiao Suner, whose face was still a bit pale, with a concern in her eyes. Xiao Suner had a sweet smile on her face and said, Thank you, Brother Xiao Miao. Suner is fine. She just can't sleep. It's okay, Brother Xiao Miao is here. Brother Xiao Miao will tell you a bedtime story. After listening, go to bed, okay? After a period of contact, Xiao Miao felt even more sorry for the little girl in front of him. Although my status is priceless, I am far away from my hometown and come to this unfamiliar place of life alone. How can a girl like this who is sensible, lovely, and strong not be pitied by others? Once upon a time, there was an ancient story. It was said that Mr. Pig would go berserk when he was angry, and no one knew who he would fight when he met. The small animals in the forest were extremely afraid. Xiao Miao's gentle voice slowly echoed inside the house. The sound of milk producing milk carries a peaceful force. But there was only one person who didn't believe it, and that was Mr. Pig's girlfriend, Tuesday. In fact, Tutu was also very afraid, but Mr. Pig had promised him that he wouldn't be angry with her or hurt her, so Tutu had never seen Mr. Pig angry. Xiao Suner's nimble eyes fixed on Xiao Miao, and her stiff body from pain slowly relaxed. One evening, Tutu was knitting a sweater at home when the little fox knocked on Tutu's door. The little fox hurriedly said "Tutu" and heard that Mr. Pig was angry in the forest. It seemed that both tiger and lion had gone but couldn't control it. The rabbit was very anxious, so he let the little fox take him to the forest. As he walked, he found something was wrong and seemed to be walking deeper into the forest. At this moment, the rabbit was dizzy by a strange smell. Upon hearing this, Xiao Suner's heart had already lifted, but she didn't say a word to interrupt. She was already immersed in the story and eager to know the ending. At this moment, Mr. Pig returned home and waited for a while, but still didn't find the rabbit coming back. He went to ask his neighbor Mr. White Deer. Mr. White Deer said, "The fox has just arrived, it seems like he has taken the rabbit deep into the forest." Deep in the forest. Mr. Pig is very anxious. There is a wicked wolf inside, who is an unforgivable villain. The pig immediately runs towards the deep forest. Not far away, Mr. Pig found that the rabbit was tied up, with several wolves around him, including the evil wolf. Mr. Pig was particularly angry but still tried his best to stay awake. Mr. Pig made a noise with a stone and took the opportunity to save the rabbit. The rabbit lay down in the pig's arms and cried, "Foolish pig, why are you angry?" Mr. Pig said, "I'm not angry, but now I'm going to be truly angry." The crying of the rabbit startled the bad wolf, and Mr. Pig said, "Don't be afraid of me, rabbit. Stand behind me." Mr. Pig's eyes turned red, his flesh turned into thick muscles, his teeth became sharp, and he charged straight towards the wolf pack. In no time, the bad wolves were killed, but Mr. Pig had not yet regained his sanity. The rabbit was very afraid and said, "Pig, come back quickly." Slowly, Mr. Pig returned to his original appearance. The rabbit said to Mr. Pig, "So that legend is true, why haven't you been angry with me before?" Mr. Pig said, "Rabbit, you are the fierce person I am angry and reluctant to part with." The whole book is finished. Xiao Miao finished telling the story with satisfaction, while at this moment Xiao Suner had no voice at all. Xiao Miao watched as Xiao Suner, who was already asleep, tiptoed out of the room. "Mississippi, you should know that the pain of the strange fire entering your body can only be forcibly endured, which is beneficial for your future development." Ling Ying's voice suddenly rang out in the room. Xiao Suner could only look at Ling Ying with a cold pair of eyes. Redemption of subordinates, Xiao Miao. At this moment, Xiao Suner could no longer listen and interrupted, "Uncle Ling, this is my business. You go out first." It seemed that a golden flame appeared in Xiao Suner's eyes, causing Ling Ying to not only persuade him for a while. Ling Ying silently bowed, transforming into a dark mass and dissipating into the room. Xiao Suner walked up to the windowsill and looked at the bright moon outside. "Brother Xiao Miao, you are also a person that Suner cannot bear to be angry. The feelings of a young girl are always poetry, and when I look at you, even my gaze is gentle." Xiao Miao returned to the yard, drew out his long sword, and slowly waved it. Suddenly, Xiao Miao stopped waving his knife and said, "Alas, my heart is restless. Am I really a copper alchemist?" Xiao Miao thought to himself. Half a year has passed, and the relationship between Xiao Miao and Xiao Suner is getting better and better. Now that I have regained my senses, I have unknowingly developed to this point. If it were someone else, I would definitely scold Xiao Suner for being the first licking dog in a fight, but if it were myself, my thoughts would be completely different. Is this called infatuation okay? However, the road ahead is difficult. Recently, there has been the disaster of Yunlan's sect after Nailan Yanran withdrew from marriage, and far away, there are soul clans lurking outside. At this time, when it comes to dating and distracting oneself from practicing speed, I'm afraid I don't want to die. I just wanted to hug my thigh, but I never thought of licking it back. Xiao Miao thought with tears in her eyes. However, after regaining his senses and pondering carefully, Xiao Miao felt a little puzzled in his heart. Did people with better talents think more about dating? Is there Xiao Huahua in front and Xiao Suner behind, all like salted fish, waiting for the sole heavenly emperor to harvest? Moonlight shone on two people, one gazing at the bright moon in the courtyard and the other at their beloved by the window. The next day, Xiao Miao had already calmed down the inner turmoil. A man who stands tall and upright, dare not even admit his love in his heart, how can he talk about exploring the world? Xiao Miao's thoughts cleared up and he felt refreshed, even the knife in his hand seemed more in line with his wishes. Sitting upright in the courtyard, feeling the breath of the wind, Xiao Miao seemed to hear the joyful light cry of the knife in his hand. Xiao Miao's breathing became stronger all around him, and the 8th section fighting qi in his body seemed to become more irritable. Xiao Zhan suddenly appeared in the courtyard, protecting Xiao Miao. Xiao Zhan's heart was filled with excitement. An 8-year-old boy was about to reach the 9th level of Dou Qi, which meant that the Xiao family would inevitably have an additional Dou emperor in the future, and even a Douzong. The day of the revival of the Xiao family is not far away. Xiao Miao's Dou Qi became increasingly irritable in his body, and it wasn't until he broke through the last meridian that Dou Qi slowly softened and flowed through his body. Xiao Miao opened his eyes and said to Xiao Zhan, "Uncle, my Jiuduan Dou Qi has already stabilized." It was only after breaking through his cultivation that he had already stabilized. It can be imagined how profound Xiao Miao's foundation is. If he were to work hard at this moment to consolidate the Dou Qi, it would not be impossible. Okay. 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 Xiao Zhan laughed heartily at this moment, his excited eyes turning red, and he patted Xiao Miao's shoulder repeatedly. "Ai, have you seen it? Your son is a peerless genius, he must be able to lead the Xiao family back to the peak." Xiao Zhan sighed in his heart. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Dapeng rises up with the wind one day, soaring up 90,000 miles, 1. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Dapeng rises up 90,000 miles with the wind on a day, 1. The next day Jiao Lai, a member of the Jiao Lai family, looked at the elder sitting in the lobby with a gloomy face and said, "I heard that Xiao Yi's son has already reached the level of Jiudan Dou. Can you tell me what to do?" The hall was silent, and everyone lowered their heads, afraid of becoming the target of the clan leader's venting. A group of useless people. He shouted angrily as he looked at the members of his tribe with negative expressions. "Please have the chief of the Oba tribe come over, this Xiao Miao cannot stay." Galabai stood in the shadow, his face grim. "Xiao Miao, I will soon take you to meet your ghost father." A month later, Xiao Miaoduan sat in the yard, slowly finishing his work. Exhaling a long breath, Xiao Miao said, "It seems that he will soon be able to try to break through the fighter. What is the next path?" At this moment, Xiao Miao was not as excited as the tribe members had imagined. The Gama Empire is still too small. Although there are many opportunities, there are not many that Xiao Miao can use. After 5 years of practicing Qi, Xiao Miao had already realized that he was a dual-attribute fighter of wind and thunder, and the biggest chance fire on this continent had been determined to have no chance with Xiao Miao. Dong dong dong. Xiao Miao stood up and pushed open the door, looking at the pretty little loli in front of her. After a year of getting along, the two had already deeply rooted in each other. After all, Xiao Miao was just an ordinary person in his past life. He never had the experience of being crazily licked by a goddess, so he was naturally taken down by Xiao Suner, who had some ulterior motives. Not to mention anything else, Xiao Miao's daily medicinal bath for nourishing his body is a huge expense. After all, the path of exercising is a road that no one has ever walked before. Although the Xiao family has never compromised, there are still some different voices within the clan. Moreover, the medicinal herbs provided by the clan are more than one level inferior to the medicinal bath provided by Xiao Suner. Xiao Miao certainly didn't want to eat soft rice, but he knew that if he didn't seize every opportunity to become stronger now, there would be some he regretted in the future. Under the inhumane efforts of Fuyuoli, Xiao Miao could only tearfully accept Suner's kindness and become a plaything in Fuyuoli's hands. Xiao Suner waved her tender little hand in front of Xiao Miao and said, "Brother Xiao Miao, come to your senses." Xiao Suner was already accustomed to Xiao Miao's occasional evasive behavior. Xiao Miao regained his senses, picked up Xiao Suner's small hand, and walked towards the yard. Watching Xiao Suner's ears turn slightly red, Xiao Miao felt a sense of helplessness. It had been almost half a year, and just holding a small hand would make Xiao Suner blush. Playing with the tender white catkins in her hand, Xiao Miao asked, "What's up with Sister Suner today?" She rubbed Xiao Suner's little hands as she spoke. "Brother Xiao Miao. You let go first." Xiao Suner's face was already flushed at this moment. Since the two expressed their feelings, Brother Xiao Miao has become increasingly promiscuous, and Xiao Suner is biting her milk teeth. Seeing Xiao Suner's serious face, Xiao Miao also knew that Xiao Suner must have something serious to do when she came to find him today. She quickly said, "Suner, tell me, I'm listening." Xiao Suner glanced at Xiao Miao with a pair of deer-like eyes. Take out a ring from your pocket and hand it to Xiao Miao. You should know that the entire Xiao family only has 2 rings, and they are all low-level rings. Xiao Miao took the ring and swept it with the power of his soul. There were at least hundreds of cubes inside the ring. She truly deserves to be the little princess of the ancient tribe. When she makes a move, she is a high-level ring bearer. It is estimated that even low-level rings will dirty my younger sister's hands, Xiao Miao thought happily. Xiao Suner felt her lover's love for the gift she gave, and her heart was filled with joy. Brother Xiao Miao, don't just focus on looking at the ring, look at the things inside the ring, Xiao Suner urged Xiao Miao. Xiao Miao was not in a hurry to retrieve the contents of the cashier's ring. Instead, he asked Xiao Suner, Suner, does this cashier's ring have a name? There are very few items on the Duki continent that can have names and surnames. Although the cashier's ring in Xiao Miao's hand is advanced, it is still far from qualified. Xiao Suner replied crisply, not yet, why don't brother Xiao Miao come and give him a name? Xiao Miao looked at the girl in front of her and honestly said that at first, Xiao Miao approached Xiao Suner with some utilitarianism. Through long-term contact, Xiao Miao has long been moved by this silly girl. Everyone hates licking dogs because they're not licking you. Anyway, Xiao Miao is now being eaten to death by Xiao Suner. It's called a concentric knot, where 2 red lines converge to form a concentric knot, meaning that 2 people will always be together. Xiao Miao looked straight into Xiao Suner's watery and spiritual eyes, and made a vow of one person for a lifetime in his heart. Xiao Miao, brother. Xiao Suner looked at her lover's brother in a daze. Cough cough. Xiao Zhan appeared outside the yard at some point, interrupting their affectionate gaze. Xiao Suner's shy face turned red at this moment. Xiao Miao looked at her uncle with a black line all over her head and said, Uncle, are you not afraid that I will become a great filial son when you treat me like this? Xiao Zhan was already accustomed to Xiao Miao's indirect mental illness and interrupted, let's go, stinky kid. There are some distinguished guests coming to see you today, so don't let them wait too long. Suner should also come along. Noble guest. Looking for me. Xiao Miao was full of doubts. In recent years, he had never even left the Xiao family gate, let alone knew any distinguished guests. However, it's probably not a bad thing to come and visit someone at least. 3 people arrived at the reception hall. The elders of the Xiao family, big and small, sat respectfully below in the reception hall. Above them sat a young mature woman who looked in her 20s. The woman in the seat was wrapped in a plain dress with a plump and delicate body, and her blue hair was tied up into a noble phoenix hair accessory. Her beautiful and charming face was calm and peaceful. Miaoer, come and meet Master Yunyun quickly, Xiao Zhan quickly called out. Xiao Miao was stunned. He never expected that one day Yunyun would come to this remote little place in Wutan City because of him. Suddenly, a sharp pain hit her waist, and Suner's dangerous voice rang in her ear. Brother Xiao Miao, are you pretty? Xiao Miao finally regained his composure and said to Yunyun's luggage, I have seen Master Yunyun before, and I was a bit shocked. If I were impolite, I hope Master Yunyun can forgive me. Xiao Miao bowed respectfully. Sitting in front of him was a Do Huang, who could easily crush the Xiao family with just a hand. He dared not take Yunyun's personality in the book seriously. If there were any mistakes or omissions, the Xiao family could not afford to offend a Do Huang. No need to be polite. I heard that the Xiao family has produced a genius that has never appeared in the Gamma Empire. Now it seems that there is no exaggeration. Yunyun looked at the young man in front of her and couldn't conceal her admiration. Are you willing to worship me as a teacher? Yunyun's words directly plunged Xiao Miao's brain into a short circuit. Although he knew that his talent in this life was somewhat extraordinary, he did not expect to attract Yunyun to come and recruit him. You should know that the protagonists in the book are usually pretending to be pigs and eating tigers, and have always been looked down upon by people. How come they change when it comes to themselves? Previously, Xiao Miao had always regarded Yunlan's sect as a hypothetical enemy. Yun Yun looked at the young man with a bewildered expression in front of her and smiled. She touched Xiao Miao's head and said, "The matter of apprenticeship is of great importance, so please think carefully. I will stay at the Xiao family for the next few days, and if you think about it, you can come find me." After saying that, Yun touched her head and left with the Xiao family. Xiao Miao then returned to his own yard in a daze, looking at the lively Sun Er in the yard. "Brother Xiao Miao, Sun Er will always be waiting for you at the Xiao family." Xiao Sun Er felt a bit reluctant, knowing that she shouldn't be a burden on Xiao Miao. Xiao Miao did not receive much cultivation in the Xiao family. Although Yunlan's sect has declined, at least he has had some background in Dozun. Silly girl. Xiao Miao's heart was full of emotion, and she hugged Xiao Sun Er into her arms. The moon in the sky seemed to blush due to the passionate friendship between lovers, quietly hiding among the clouds. "Brothers, for the sake of putting in so much effort, let me give you a collection and recommendation ticket." Thank you. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Dapeng rises together with the wind on a day, soaring up 90,000 miles, 2. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Dapeng rises up 90,000 miles with the wind on a day, 2. Xiao Miao bid farewell to his beloved sister and returned to his own room. Lying in bed, Xiao Miao's mind was full of thoughts. Worshipping Yun Yun is not at all harmful to Xiao Miao now. Within the Yunlan sect, there is a tradition of Dozun. The martial arts practiced by a Dozun are, no matter how poor they are still on the earth level. There are also 6-level alchemists in the sect, which is also the highest level alchemist that Xiao Miao may encounter at this time. Yao Lao doesn't even count. At this point Yao Lao may not have regained consciousness. Resources, martial arts, and Yunlan sect are not lacking, and they can also provide a great support for the Xiao family. There is also the most important opportunity, the Gate of Life and Death. This is a great opportunity for Naylan Yanran to jump directly from a master to the peak of the Do King in just 3 years, and can advance to the Do King at any time. Xiao Miao pondered carefully and found that apprenticeship seemed to be entirely beneficial. The only hidden danger is that the Soul Palace will one day come knocking on you. But Xiao Miao suddenly realized that the Soul Clan seemed to have been searching for the trace of the Xiao family in the northwest region, and it seemed that they couldn't escape. Damn it, if you die, you'll face the sky. Soul Clan, it's best not to bump into the hands of the young master, otherwise the young master will kill you. Xiao Miao made up his mind, with a fierce expression on his still immature face. Since he had made up his mind, Xiao Miao no longer thought too much. Feeling the concentric knot on his finger, Xiao Miao finally thought of wanting to see what Sun Er had said about the surprise. Pouring soul power into the ring, be good, it's worth millions of gold coins alone. What kind of fairy is this, Fuyuoli? I love you. Xiao Miao sighed. Eating soft meals may not be good, but this is the only opportunity for Xiao Miao to have access to advanced resources in mainland China today. Let me see what other treasures there are. Xiao Miao took out the items from the concentric knot one by one. 2 scrolls, a long knife, a bottle of elixir, and an inner armor. Xiao Miao looked at the treasure in front of him and said, Sun Er really wants to make me a waste. Picking up the scroll, Xiao Miao looked at the Wind and Thunder Forging Body Record, a low-level technique at the earth level, drawing thunder from the sky, forging the body of Vajra. This was actually a forging body technique. You should know that special techniques like this, except for the 1 hall and 1 tower in Zhongzhou, may not be collected by other top powers. Moreover, Xiao Miao's own attributes perfectly match this wind and thunder forging record. Sonaire. Xiao Miao clenched the technique in her hand. No one likes to eat soft rice, but Xiao Miao knows that he doesn't have a master of a 9th grade alchemist. If a man gives up these resources due to his self-esteem, he will never be able to catch up with Xiao Sun'er's pace in his lifetime, let alone take away their little princess from the ancient tribe. Xiao Miao looked down at the next scroll and said, "The twin wings of Thunderbolt are intermediate combat skills of the Xian level. They are made from the twin wings of the 4th level Purple Thunderbolt and have the speed of wind and thunder. Xianlei Blade, rumored to be a meteorite iron from the Tai Su ancient dragon thunder pool, has been forged by Black Demon Thunder for thousands of years. It was later made by a master of weapon refining and is known as no matter what, no chopping, no continuous chopping. The inner armor of the scale dragon is made from the scales on the body of the 6th order scale armored crocodile. This scale armored crocodile has dragon blood in its body, and as an adult, it becomes the Dozong." Xiao Miao finally picked up the elixir and said, "It's okay, it's just a 4th grade qi gathering powder." Even though she knew that Xiao Sun'er had a noble status and was a true little rich woman, Xiao Miao was still knocked unconscious by Xiao Sun'er's pen tonight. At this moment, Xiao Miao wished to immediately accept Xiao Sun'er's love for whipping, otherwise Xiao Miao would be a little uneasy about taking these resources. Xiao Miaoduan sat on the bed, slowly calming down his excited thoughts. "Since I have decided to join the Yunlan sect, I am fortunate to showcase all my talents and receive better training," Xiao Miao thought. Playing the role of a pig and eating a tiger may be good, but one day they will eventually become a pig. Xiao Miao will keep his trump card, but he will never really turn himself into a pig. Taking a slow breath, Xiao Miao took out a jade bottle from his pocket, with the mouth slightly tilted. A blue-green alternating pill rolled out. Looking at the glossy and round surface of Juki-san, without any hesitation, he took it into his mouth in one gulp. Gathering qi and dispersing one's breath, the faint chill spread in his mouth. After a moment, a warm and pure energy rushed directly from his mouth into his body, causing Xiao Miao's body to tremble violently. With a calm expression, Xiao Miao's hands quickly formed fingerprints that absorbed the doji qi, and his breathing gradually became stable. The faint doji qi in his body moved in response to his heart, quickly entangled with the powerful and pure medicinal power, and then began a crazy refining process. Teeth clenched on his lips, and the collision of two energies in his body caused waves of throbbing pain in Xiao Miao's meridians. However, after years of physical training, Xiao Miao had already become accustomed to the pain. Inside, the do qi enveloped clusters of green and pure energy. As he frantically refined, green energy was constantly assimilated into a pale white do qi. With the support of these aftereffects, the scale of do qi in Xiao Miao's body was constantly expanding at a visible speed to the naked eye. Although pure medicinal powers are constantly refined, they seem to be constantly flowing. Whenever doji qi refines a cluster of medicinal powers, a larger cluster of green energy will rush towards them. With the continuous infusion of refining in his body and fighting energy outside his body, Xiao Miao's fighting energy had gradually filled most of his veins. At this point, Xiao Miao's fighting energy had already expanded to a critical point that could no longer be increased. The expansion of doji qi directly caused Xiao Miao's meridians to twitch gently, causing intense pain, making Xiao Miao's thoughts more clear. Taking a deep breath, Xiao Miao's handprint suddenly changed. His index thumb crossed, his middle finger touched each other, and his 10 fingers formed a strange handprint. With the changes in Xiao Miao's fingerprints, the surging doji qi in his body was like being subjected to a fierce suction, rapidly contracting towards the lower abdomen. The pale do qi in various veins of his body began to retreat coincidentally. When all the do qi had shrunk to the lower abdomen, the pale do qi had already turned into milky white. Xiao Miao calmed down his mind, and his excellent soul perception instantly gained control of the do qi in his body. Then, he began to frantically compress. Driven by the perception of the soul, the milky white fighting spirit began to resist, constantly tumbling violently. Although the power of resistance was not weak, the soul power of Xiao Miao's 2 lives was not weak. Therefore, the protest of doji qi was undoubtedly a mantis arm blocking the car. After a slight stalemate, it began to contract helplessly. When the qi of dough contracts to the size of only a palm, it solidifies again and remains motionless. Biting his teeth, Xiao Miao's eyes closed tightly, and the soul perception power surrounding the milky white fighting aura suddenly opened up to its maximum, then fiercely compressed down. Bang! A soft muffled sound echoed quietly inside my body. With the muffled sound, the strong resistance that exhausted Xiao Miao dissipated into thin air. With a heavy sigh of relief, Xiao Miao collapsed completely, his chest heaving violently. Lying in bed, Xiao Miao felt the abundant energy in his body, and a smile appeared at the corner of his mouth. Xiao Miao, at the age of 3, practices qi, at the age of 6, he possesses the qi of a 6-stage battle, and at the age of 8, he fights. Compared to Xiao Yan, the son of fate, who was 3 years earlier, how could this not make Xiao Miao happy? Pretty guys, please recommend tickets and collect them. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Dapeng rises together with the wind on a day, soaring up 90,000 miles, 3. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Dapeng rises up 90,000 miles with the wind on a day, 3. The glaring sunlight shone on Xiao Miao's face, which was the only time Xiao Miao had been bedridden since he remembered it. Xiao Miao slowly got up, stretched lazily, and washed himself before leaving the door. After asking about the location of Yun Yun, Xiao Miao went to the back mountain of the Xiao family. On the cliff behind the mountain, Yun Yun sat cross-legged on a giant rock, her strange long sword lying flat on her legs. Today, she changed into a snow-white plain dress, and the originally lazy phoenix hair accessory on her head was once again gathered, emitting a faint nobility, beautiful cheeks, and a calm elegance. Here we go. Yun Yun still opened her eyes and looked at Xiao Miao. Having met Master Yun Yun, I still have some doubts. Could you please ask Master Yun to clarify them? Xiao Miao saluted respectfully and asked. You cunning little rascal, if you have any more questions, just ask. Yun Yun was also angry and laughed. You should know that she is a powerful fighter for the emperor, and she released rumors of accepting apprentices. I don't know how many young girls in the Gama Empire are flocking to her. It's better to come to Xiao Miao and look ahead and behind. Seemingly aware of the resentment conveyed in Yun Yun's tone, Xiao Miao awkwardly scratched his head and sneered, Master Yun, there are countless talents in the Gama Empire. Although I have some talents, I wouldn't let you personally go. I'm a bit curious. Xiao Miao actually wanted to cross the line. He has always compared the young talents of the entire Duki continent and the ancient 8 tribes. But Xiao Miao didn't even think about it. Where is this? This is a remote small place in the northwest of Duki continent. With Xiao Miao's qualifications, it can be said that he has not emerged in this northwest continent for 1,000 years. The 8-year-old Judan Do Chi has never appeared before. At the age of 8, he had a fighting spirit of 9 stages, which had never appeared in the Gama Empire before. Isn't that right? Are you already a fighter? Yun Yun initially didn't pay attention, but now upon closer inspection, Xiao Miao successfully broke through and became a fighter. Seemingly sensing Yun Yun's shock, Xiao Miao awkwardly scratched his head and said, Last night, the kid had a sudden impulse and tried a little bit. I didn't expect it to be difficult to break through the fighter. With his mouth in Versailles, Xiao Miao thought to himself, it's truly me. At this moment, Yun Yun had completely faced up to the 8-year-old child in front of her. At first, Yun Yun thought that although Xiao Miao had exceptional talent, at most, his qualifications were slightly better than hers. I didn't expect Xiao Miao to be so excellent. With time, perhaps one could glimpse the realm of Dozun. Now Yun Yun couldn't let Xiao Miao go. She secretly decided to take Xiao Miao under her tutelage. Xiao Miao, you don't know that although Yunlan's sect is second to none in the Gama Empire, it can be considered a third-rate force at most in this northwest continent. Yun Yun felt a little gloomy. But you are different. Your talent is so high that I can even imagine the day when you rose up with Yunlan's sect. Yun looked at Xiao Miao excitedly. Although she had an indifferent personality, Yunlan's sect held a significant weight in her heart. Upon hearing the praise of the stunning beauty in front of him, Xiao Miao couldn't help but raise the corner of his mouth and humbly said, "It's okay, it's okay. I didn't even realize I was so outstanding, Master Yun." He. Yun Bai glanced at Xiao Miao and said, "Little guy, no matter what you say today, I will also include you in my family. If Yun Lanzong has something in the future, you will definitely have it. If Yun Lanzong doesn't, as long as you want it, I will do my best to bring it for you." Xiao Miao looked at Yun with a serious expression. Since he had already made a decision in his heart, he no longer hesitated. He bent down and kowtowed 3 heads, saying, "I pay my respects to Master." Yun nodded solemnly and stood up to help Xiao Miao up, saying, "Since you have entered my sect, you naturally want to go with me to Yunlan's sect and bid farewell to your family for a few more days. Come here to find me after the matter is over." Xiao Miao nodded and bowed to Yun before leaving the back mountain. Outside Xiao Sun'er's yard, Xiao Miao was pacing back and forth, feeling a tingling sensation in her heart, unsure of how to bid her farewell. "Brother Xiao Miao, come in directly." Xiao Sun'er felt Xiao Miao's anxiety outside the door and reminded her loudly. Xiao Miao took a deep breath and said, "Extending her head is like a knife, shrinking her head is also like a knife, it's done." After breathing for herself, she pushed open Xiao Sun'er's door. Upon entering the door, I saw Sun'er standing in the courtyard with a beautiful appearance. At this early summer, the bright but not scorching sun was shining on Xiao Sun'er's fair face. She was dressed in a light blue long dress, elegant like a lotus, and her clear deer-like eyes were shyly staring at her lover. Looking at the beautiful girl in front of her, Xiao Miao was actually immersed in the gentle breeze of early summer. "Sun'er." Xiao Miao pushed the girl forward and embraced her. Behind the mountain, Yun slowly regained her soul perception and exclaimed, "Children nowadays are really precocious." Xiao Miao arrived at Xiao Yan's yard and had been paying close attention to this destined protagonist. However, under the influence of Xiao Miao, Xiao Yan's path seems to have gone astray. Xiao Miao pushed open the door, and a 6-year-old boy in the yard, naked on his upper body, vigorously pushed the giant rocks in the yard. Although the boy is young, he has already developed bulging muscles. The sharp contrast between her delicate face and all her muscles is like a muscle in 100,000 Ys. "Third brother, come exercise. Since Sister Sun'er arrived, you and I have less time to exercise together." Xiao Huahua put down the stone in his hand and said with some dissatisfaction. "Third brother, women only drag you down the speed of drawing a knife. I won't have to teach you this kind of thing, will I?" Xiao Huahua took a towel and wiped his sweat all over, preaching to Xiao Miao. Xiao Miao's eyes twitched, and at this moment, the famous Yan Emperor's painting style had completely deviated. "Fire, women will slow down the speed of my knife drawing, while Fuyuoli won't, she will give me a better knife," Xiao Miao replied. "Huahua, tell third brother, do you still like cute girls now?" Xiao Miao's voice trembled slightly. This was his brother, with blood ties, if it was really because he was heading towards a path of no return. Xiao Miao is going to kneel in front of Xiao Zhan and apologize. "What are you talking nonsense, third brother? Women don't have fun exercising, you heretic." Xiao Yan seemed shameless of Xiao Miao's lack of piety towards iron smashing and shouted angrily. Xiao Miao looked at Xiao Yan with a headache. Shouldn't Xiao Huahua be an LSP? He broke into Luo Li's room at the age of 5 and secretly watched his cousin take a shower at the age of 6. What is the current situation? LSP is actually me. Xiao Miao's head was covered in black lines when Xiao Huahua argued, and after a perfunctory farewell, he hurriedly left, afraid that Xiao Yan would say anything more. In the following days, Xiao Miao accompanied Sun Er to explore the streets of Wutan City. Perhaps due to Xiao Miao's companionship, after leaving the family, Sun Er became much more lively, pulling helpless Xiao Miao and constantly running around in front of various vendors. The gentle laughter of the young girl made the streets, which were exposed to the sun, cool a bit and also diluted the sadness of parting. Brothers, if you see any typos, please at me. Thank you. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. I often hate that my heart is not as good as water, and that the waves rise on the calm ground. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. I often hate that my heart is not as good as water, and that the waves rise on the calm ground. In the early morning, outside Wutan City, Yun Yun and Xiao Miao sat in a carriage and rushed towards Yunlan sect. On the carriage, Yun Yun joked to Xiao Miao, "Don't say goodbye to your little girlfriend before leaving. These days, her precious disciple has been hanging out with Xiao Suner every day. I'm afraid I can't bear to part, teacher." Xiao Miao felt a headache when she remembered Xiao Suner's clingy energy these days, and the hero felt sad and beautiful. If this continues, Xiao Miao probably won't be able to reach Yunlan sect. Alright, don't be poor anymore. It's not that I won't let you come back, Yun Yun said as she took out a light blue scroll from her ring. You have been promoted to a fighter and it's time for you to practice your martial arts. This is the inheritance of our Yunlan sect's martial arts. You should first study it carefully. Got it, teacher. Xiao Miao quickly took the scroll and opened it. Ethereal record, intermediate level, wind attribute skill. If I were to stay at the Xiao family, the most I would cultivate at this time would be the intermediate level of the Xian level, the Wild Lion Angry Gang. According to the rules of the Xiao family, I may not be allowed to cultivate yet, Xiao Miao thought, holding the scroll. Although there is only one level difference between the Earth level and the Xian level advanced techniques, the distance between the two is like a gap. The Xian level advanced techniques, as long as they have strong financial resources and some luck, can occasionally be obtained from high-level auctions. However, as for the Earth-level techniques, they are truly priceless. It is said that in the black market of the imperial capital of the Gamma Empire, the Earth-level techniques have been sold for nearly 10 million yuan, which is equivalent to a full year of tax revenue for the Gamma Empire, but they have not been able to achieve their goal. Just the difference of this order, but the prices of the two differ by hundreds of times. It can be seen that the Xuanjia and the Dijia are fundamentally two different concepts. Sitting cross-legged on the soft chair, Xiao Miao slowly sank his mind and remembered every word and sentence recorded in the ethereal record. The first cultivation after starting to be promoted as a fighter. The first transformation of fighting spirit won't take too long, so just 2 hours later, Xiao Miao sitting cross-legged slowly opened his eyes. After practicing the Duki technique, Xiao Miao seemed to be more energetic than before. His immature face was shining with a warm jade-like luster, looking energetic and energetic. He also exuded a ethereal aura. Blinking his eyelids, Xiao Miao looked at the seemingly brighter carriage and smiled slightly. He knew that this was a sensory enhancement reaction brought about by practicing the technique. Did you succeed? Yun Yun asked with a smile on the side. She nodded, and Xiao Miao extended her fair palm. The cyclone, which had already turned into a deep blue color, quickly circulated a green fighting spirit inside her body, and finally stayed in the acupoint on her palm. The release of fighting spirit is something that can only be achieved by a master of martial arts. Currently, Xiao Miao clearly does not possess such strength, so the fighting spirit in his body has not broken through the blockage of acupoints, but gradually shines a little light on his fair palm. Blue is the symbol color of wind attribute martial arts. The higher the level of Duki martial arts, the darker the color. Teacher, besides teaching the martial arts, at least teach your apprentice 1 or 2 ground-level combat techniques. You can't let your apprentice fight the enemy bare-handed, can you? Xiao Miaoxin said with a face on his face. From childhood to adulthood, Xiao Miao only practiced forging his body and practicing swordsmanship, but he never really practiced his fighting skills. And Xiao Miao really despised the Huang Jie fighting skills of the Xiao family, so he decided to use his time to practice swordsmanship. "You bastard, do you know what it means to be too greedy to chew?" Yun nodded at Xiao Miao's head in anger, giving her a charming look. "But ultimately, it's my own disciple. Who hurts if I don't hurt? Take out 2 more scrolls of fighting skills from Neji. Most of the fighting skills in the sect are swordsmanship, but you happen to be proficient in swordsmanship. You might as well practice other fighting skills first. As for swordsmanship, the master will search for it for you," Yun said unhappily. Her disciple is determined to practice swordsmanship for some reason, and most of the fighting skills within Yunlan's sect are sword techniques, which gives Yun a lot of energy. "The knife is the only thing my father left for me," Xiao Miao thought of the tall man, his face darkened. Yun looked at Xiao Miao as if she was an abandoned cub, tenderly caressing her little head. Her gentle voice rang out in the carriage, "Master will be with you in the future." Xiao Miao felt the warmth above his head and slowly regained his composure. He jokingly said to Yun, "Teacher, don't fool me with the rolling and fighting skills casually." Then he opened the scroll and said, "The wall of the wind, the advanced level of the Xian level, controls the strong wind and forms a barrier in front of him. The wind tears the monument hand, the advanced level of the Xian level, is as fast as illness, as fierce as death, and there is no life in making a move. Be well behaved, truly worthy of the power of Dozun. Although it has declined, this foundation is not inferior." Xiao Miao sighed, knowing that Yun Lanzong is famous for his swordsmanship and fighting skills, but he did not expect other types of fighting skills to be inferior. Looking at Xiao Miao with a look of admiration on her face, Yun joked, "Well, the teacher didn't fool you." Xiao Miao awkwardly scratched his head. In the dense forest, Galibius is ambushing his tribe again. "Clan leader, a child who hasn't even seen a fighter, doesn't need such a big battle," asked the second elder. Confused, Xiao Miao had already broken through his 9-stage fighting spirit a month ago. "Don't you know what an 8-year-old fighter represents?" Galabai scolded with a fierce expression on his face. "I am not a villain without intelligence, and I will not give Xiao Miao a chance to escape. Now there are 3 great warriors hidden in this dense forest, in order to cleanly attack and kill Xiao Miao. Are you sure Xiao Miao is following an unknown woman towards this place? How long will it take to arrive?" Galabai asked the people beside him. Before the tribe could reply, Galabai saw a carriage slowly driving into the dense forest. Jia Libi's horse was silent, completely focused on watching the carriage on the road. Up! With a command from Jia Libi, the hidden assassins in the dense forest rushed out and headed towards the carriage in the center of the road. Liang gun. Jia Libi's move was a killing move, and a gun shadow flew towards the carriage. Boom! A burst of smoke filled the air. Jia Libi stared intently, not daring to relax at all. You, go and see the body of Xiao Miao's little bunny," Galabai casually ordered a few people. Suddenly, a strong wind blew up, dispersing the smoke. A graceful figure slowly rises, with blue wings waving slowly behind it. Do Huang. The crowd surrounding the carriage was immediately frightened and disoriented, and cold sweat crawled over Galabai's forehead. The cloud-like charm in the field, like a deity, protects Xiao Miao in her arms. "Miao, are you okay?" Yun let go of Xiao Miao in her arms. Yun also didn't expect that someone would dare to attack her boldly. Without checking for a moment, she let Jia Libi destroy her car. Seeing Xiao Miao standing intact on the ground, Yun then turned her gaze to Jia Libi and others. "Sir." Galabai seemed to be explaining, but he didn't expect a gust of wind to blow. With a coquettish shout, Yun used her fighting skills without any nonsense. Yun was also impatient. Since she was promoted to Emperor Do and took over the position of Lord of Yunlan's sect, no one dared to provoke her, let alone damage her car. The strong wind gradually subsided, leaving only flower-like bloodstains in the field. Xiao Miao was stunned for a moment as he watched his father's murderer die so easily. 5 years. 5 whole years. Xiao Miao has fantasized about countless scenes of killing Galabai. I didn't expect it to come so quickly. Although it wasn't something I personally killed, the thought of waiting for myself to grow up before taking action. I don't know how long I will survive after adding to the list. Xiao Miao's thoughts were chaotic in his heart, and his body stiffened in place. Yun only saw blood for the first time and couldn't accept it for a while. Embracing Xiao Miao in his arms, he comforted him in a low voice. End of this chapter.